Good morning and happy Monday. My name is Michael Leeserman here with the Trial Guide's tip of the day this August 14th, 2023. Today's tip comes from Bill Bailey's book, Show the Brief. We actually have Bill and Robert Bailey here today. They've each written books together and Bill separately for Trial Guides, both very worthwhile. If you don't have them, go and get them. Bill, what's today's tip, please?
It's about timelines, Michael. Clean, simple, well-designed timelines are the single best tool for helping a judge track your case story in a brief. They are so important that you should never file a brief without one.
Never file a brief without one. So you're talking about orienting in time, or are you talking about more than that? Actually, a literal timeline.
An actual timeline. Also, your story orients the judge in time, and we'll get into that in a moment. And visuals place the judge in the scene, which is critical to every creative form, whether it's film, plays, novels. The reader has to be put in the scene so they know what's going on and where do I file this information that I'm getting. But the timeline sorts out how did things happen. And by the time a brief dumps in the judge's lap, there's been a lot of discovery. There are a lot of details, and we're really familiar with our case. We've been living with it probably for 1.5 years, 2 years. For the judge, we are just one case of many. And state court judges in particular don't have the luxury of a lot of clerks helping them. They have to do it all themselves. So the timeline tells the judge what's the order in which all this stuff happened. And that sets up a mental model so that everything we have to say has a place to go.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
A quick addition that I would like to give regarding timelines, whether it's a brief, an opening statement, or presentation with an expert during the trial itself. Timelines, if you show all the information at one time for the first time a judge or a jury is seeing that, can overload people, and their eye begins to wander on the timeline as to, gosh, am I going to have to learn all this, or where are we on the timeline? So it's very easy to be distracted. So a better way and a more powerful way to use a timeline, whether presenting to the judge through a brief or through an opening statement, is to build it, to actually just show in the part of the story you're telling to the judge or the jury, the point on the timeline that's relevant. Later, when you get to another fact that's important for the judge to know, which isn't necessarily immediately after the first one, you can bring in the timeline again and show the next point. So then there is a relationship that the judge is seeing or the jury is seeing, and that makes much better use of this powerful tool Bill's written about in Show the Brief to deliver the communication at the right time the judge needs it and not before.
I love that, especially for trial. I love what you're saying, Bill. The timeline orients in time. People think chronologically. And Robert, when you're saying to build it in front of the jury, I strongly believe that trials are real-time experiences. We don't want to just bring and regurgitate a bunch of stuff to the jury. We want to be a real-time experience, and the jury to experience it as you're building the timeline. I think great advice from both the Bailey brothers this morning. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Let's take a deep breath together and be aware of being alive, be grateful to be alive today. May we work today to reduce suffering in the world. May our efforts as lawyers and as people help to repair the world. May we fiercely and compassionately advocate for our clients and champion their stories. this Monday. All right, I'm going to ring a bell 3 times now. This can take you into a meditation practice, a prayer practice, or just remind you it's Monday. Go out, do good things, and have fun while you're doing it.